Hello, my crafty peeps. Welcome to What the Craft. If you don't already know me, I'm Marie, an American living in Portugal. I'm addicted to crafting, and these are usually my weekly updates. However, this week I take you all the way to California to talk to my artist friend, Kristin Farr, about extreme crafting. On Instagram, I saw this picture of Kristen behind some gigantic fruit. She didn't actually post it, so I wasn't quite sure if it was like something she made or whatever. And this is a few weeks ago. And then last week, I had the opportunity to talk to her on Zoom, and I found out that not only did she make these gigantic fruit, but they're actually in her house. So she offered to give us a tour. This is Kristen. Can you tell us where you are in the world and give us the elevator pitch as to like who you are?
Hello, my old friend. Congrats on almost 30 episodes of your show. I love it. I am here in the Bay Area where we met. I live in Richmond. I'm a crafty person like you. We've done a lot of crafty things together. I mostly paint, but I studied sculpture and textiles. And I also do some miniature sculptures, little dioramas and stuff. These fruits became my main thing starting last October until February of this year.
How did this project come about? And how did they get stuck in your house? Like, it's amazing that you can fit them in.
And make them in here. Like, I'm so lucky I have a pretty sizable dining room because my studio is in a bedroom in my house. And so the dining room and we're in the living room became like the fruit factory for almost 6 months. So a friend of mine is starting a big artist residency in a very large empty space near the water. We had recently worked on another public space project. So we met up to talk about the new one, which is going to be a free art school, essentially. And I'm just looking at this big empty warehouse. I decided we needed a giant still life for the art school that would be like a central, fun thing in the space. And I was picturing it like not the biggest thing in the world, just a small installation of large fruit. Well, my friend emailed me the next day and said, let's get a 6-foot banana. How can we just make a 6-foot banana prototype right away? And I asked a couple other artists, like, could they do it? And, they were charging a reasonable amount. And so I just decided I would try to make a 6-foot banana myself. And this is where it all began. And I used marine grade vinyl. I actually bought a pool float that was a banana shape just to get the shape because fruit shapes seem so simple, but they're actually kind of hard to make them 2D and then into 3D with the stuffing. So I made the 6-foot banana and it was a hit and everyone was amazed. And then I moved on to the orange and then I started thinking about how the space is so huge. They kind of needed to be bigger, and I wanted to see how big I could get them, which is limited if you don't want to have a lot of seams. As you know, fabric only comes in certain widths. But I just became obsessed. Joann's had just closed down in the States, and so get the materials was like a little bit tricky, but I found a place called Bay Trim in Oakland, and it's like Joann's for industrial people. And so that's where I got a lot of this vinyl. Just went nuts, like with all the colors and just trying to do all different shapes. I eventually ran out of shapes, they're just like all mostly round. But there's about 5 more that are not pictured here. They got too heavy for me to move by myself.
Can you hold some of them up? I mean, if they're not too heavy, the ones that aren't too heavy that are near you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what's that pink one back there? And is this first
Yeah.
one is this first one a tomato or is this first one an orange?
That's so funny. I've gotten pumpkin, pomegranate. It's supposed to be an orange, but we could say it's like a clementine. The hot pink is my favorite because it's a radish. I don't know if you can see its little point down here. But I'll try to hold it up.
I mean, don't hurt yourself. Like, how heavy do you think that banana is?
It might only be like 12 pounds. This one's more like 60. The lemon is like getting close to 90. But here's the radish. Ooh. I'm so proud of the leaf. There's a pool noodle in there, like pool toys. It became really useful. And then there's a peach back here. The peach isn't my favorite. Okay, the lemon is so heavy, but I like this because of the little lemon verbena flower.
How much fiber fill do you think you bought in pounds?
Definitely close to 1,000 pounds. It kind of got sickening after a while. And did you get a good? Sure. Oh, can you see the strawberry there? Oh, yeah. That was a pretty early one, and I was like, I don't even know if these are going to work. So I really learned along the way. The grapes I don't love the grapes. They're not my favorite.
Well, you gotta have a not favorite and a favorite.
Right. So you could use this watermelon as a guest mattress. But it is funny because we wanted to make them so like two people could move them. And even now with two people, some of them, there's a pineapple in the other room that's very unwieldy.
Do you want to show it to us?
Here they are. Can you see them?
Oh my God, it's like a disco pineapple.
This pear is like punching bag size. Here's a plum. Eggplant. Oh, could be I didn't do an eggplant. Obvious reasons. The banana was on display in the children's library and had to be removed for inappropriate behavior by fifth graders. So I didn't do an eggplant. The base where these will be on display, it's been kind of up in the air when it's opening, and now it sounds like next year. So I have been living with them, and it's not that bad. These usually tuck into one corner. The banana and the orange go in the kitchen, because why not? Like, that's where they should be. And, the pineapple's pretty tucked into the side of the dining room. So, but I can't wait until they're out of here because my house will seem so enormous. But my husband really loves them and he wants us to keep them here forever, which is lucky for me because
Lucky for you.
if your partner was not willing to live with 1,000 pounds of fruit pillows, you'd be in real trouble.
Does your dog Earl have a favorite one?
He messed around on the pineapple the watermelon because it's like a little mattress. And he does like to crawl on it and scratch it. And, it's such durable stuff. I just can't say enough about sewing with vinyl. It's like just really smooth. It cuts easily. It doesn't fray. You don't have to hem it. It's just like as a sewing material, it was like really fun to figure out and like it's pebbled also like an orange. Sometimes it has like the same texture as fruit. So, and you might like to know that they are extremely overstuffed. And so I sew them on a sewing machine, and that part actually only takes about an hour. It's like a mile or two around the perimeter of fruit. And then I spend so much time stuffing. I mean, we had like, my husband helped me a little bit, and we had like half our body in there trying to, just half your body. And it looked ridiculous. And then they're so overstuffed that I have to hand sew them closed, and I have to lay on top of them to like close the gap. So I'm like laying on top of the fruit, like hand sew. It's so hard. It was so hard.
How much of a gap did you leave? Like when you hand sew
Sometimes a lot. And a lot of times while I'm stuffing, the seam would rip another 12 inches. So like it was like extreme sports of sewing. Like, and even other stuffed sculpture I've done was not as hard as this. So, but yeah, it was a great challenge, and they seem like a crowd pleaser.
What new things did you learn doing this project versus your hub chairs?
Mostly about materials and, like I said, working with the vinyl I hadn't done before. I hadn't had to like hand sew with that much, tension. Like tension is so important in sewing, in like every aspect. I felt like I also got a sense of like what more hardcore like boat upholstery is like.
Did you have to use any sort of like tissue paper or anything to sew the vinyl, or did the vinyl kind of just slide through your machine?
Oh, that was another thing I really learned how to because I'm a pretty basic sewer, like straight stitch, like nothing too crazy. But in order to like make the stem and the leaf, the stems have to be right side out but tucked inside, and like going around the edge. So that was definitely something that I had to teach myself along the way. It's so thick. Right, especially when you're getting to the top and then you're going through like 4 layers. But I have sewn a lot of fur, so like right, 4 layers of vinyl. I was like, at least it's not like 4 inches of fur. And sometimes you mentioned these hug chairs I make. It's like a chair with long stuffed arms. Those can be tricky when I attach the hand to the wrist because they're both stuffed and I have to shove it through the machine and like wrestle it. So, so in some ways, the sewing of these felt easier, even the hand sewing part, because other things are kind of tricky around the machine. I had been wearing safety glasses on the machine. Like it got to that point where it's like you really need to be careful.
Extreme crafting.
Extreme crafting. Yeah, anytime I talk to a sewer person, I'm like, nobody understands how hardcore this is. Or like a felter, with the barbed needle. I'm like, this is like more dangerous than like a saw.
I think that I think you and I both like the researching of projects, and
Yes.
favorite part of researching this project.
Some of the research is like logistic. Like I definitely did a deep dive on the flammability of vinyl because I think in this news I have experience. I have experience. I have experience with like building codes and stuff. So I'm not sure if this new place where I'm working is gonna have to test the flammability of marine grade vinyl, but luckily it passes like a California regulation for flammable materials in public spaces. But that is like a yucky part of research. I definitely looked at a lot of illustrations of fruit and like trying to find the most basic way people render it. I went through a big struggle with the radish. Like, does the bottom half need to be white? Now I know like an Easter radish can be a solid color. Does the lemon flower, is it really on the lemon or is it on the stem? That kind of stuff was kind of fun to figure out. And I know I showed you a picture when I first did the apple, it came out really wonky, like a lima bean. So I'm not the best drafts person. Like I did the lemon, I did a like how to draw a lemon lesson, and you have to do like 3 circles to make the oval shape. It seems so basic, but it was like kind of hard.
3-dimensional is even harder, right? So
Yeah, once you stuff it, like I made a fish. I had to redo the face 3 times. It just kept coming out like its mouth would be like this. So it was a sculptural challenge and a sewing challenge and a drawing challenge and like engineering and structure. People are gonna jump on them and they might pop. I did also learn like wow, you make something that looks so fun and it looks like it's for kids and they're going to treat it like that. And then, to me, it's my art. But if you're going to have interactive art, it's ephemeral. I had never bought more than like a 2 pound or maybe a 5 pound box of polyfill, but I was working with 20 pound boxes, 4 or 5 at a time. Bought out every Michael's in the Bay Area. I was like going to all different Michael's, getting all the polyfill. Like it was, I had got some online. I would, get discounts, and that was like kind of the most costly part because the vinyl is cheap to me, like $16 a yard and sometimes less. So I feel like the vinyl was pretty affordable. They each have like 4, 5, 6 yards at the max, maybe only 4 yards at the max. Some are wider. But anyway, the polyfill was just like out of control. It was like having a wall of it. And if I had to unstuff one, like one of the fish got messed up, and then I had to unstuff it and resew it. It's a lot bigger when it's not like So my entire dining room was like a cloud, and I would just be like desperate to stuff it back in. But what I learned is like the limitations of the weight of the polyfill, because it's super lightweight, but the bigger scale you get, it's kind of an unmanageable weight. I have been also trying to build one of those hug chairs that's like enormous with the 12-foot arms. Usually I make them and they have 4-foot arms. So I made a giant pair of arms, and they're not really going to work because they're too heavy. And that's why I think everyone does inflatables, because you can't get like a boulder shape at an enormous scale without it weighing a ton, even if it's only, the lightest weight material you could find. So thanks for asking that, because it's important to like be like, look how fun, but like also remember all the stuff you learned while doing it.
So many things to learn. Like, how much do you think your pineapple cost you to make?
$5. $5 a pound is what I quoted when I started. I wanted to have a big price tag, like $5 a pound would be so funny, but that's roughly what they cost. Like, a little more with the fabric, but it's the filling. Your time.
Noted. Okay, my next question. You tend to do miniatures, and you tend to do the opposite. Is there a reason, or is there?
So yeah, the scale thing is weird. I mean, life is at average scale, so I guess it's fun to make it go one way or the other. And sculpture is always about scale, so a lot of artists talk about that as like the main thing about their work.
You have to make a bowl, right?
I'm stuck. I don't know yet if we need one, but traditional still life has like a pedestal bowl. So you had a great idea to try an above ground pool. I thought about making like a giant rope basket. It was like forever, like a coil. I really want to get like a decommissioned fountain, because those, on the bottom layer of the city fountain is that exact like pedestal bowl shape. So it may end up just being on a round rug. I think that's going to be the most feasible, probably. Their fate is still up in the air. Who knows? Maybe we'll dangle them from the ceiling. I don't know.
Maybe you'll sell them all, and yeah.
It's funny too that it's a still life, but like they're so pillowy and wrinkly on the side. So I'm thinking about if people actually use them as like drawing practice, they're going to be pretty funny drawings.
You interview people for Juxtapose, and you've also been interviewed a lot because you're an artist. So do you have a preference for which side of the camera you like to be?
As a Leo, this side.
Leos unite!
I mean, I have much more experience on the other side. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, and interviewing artists for, also for 20 years, has given me a lot of inspiration and ways to think about art. But yeah, I just prefer to talk about myself, but only because I must have interviewed like over 1,000 other artists, and I think I've been interviewed like, ooh, this might be my third time. So
It is not. It's like your third time this year, girl. Stop.
why, did you see a lot of interviews with me that I forgot about?
Interviewed all the time.
I don't feel like that often. I was on a podcast once, but certainly an unbalanced number of times. But yeah, I've been focusing a lot more on my art than other people's art in the last couple of years, and that's been like really strange, but kind of nice.
Post fruit. What's the next thing?
Oh, well, simultaneously, I've been making this diorama that's like a winter scene, kind of like Narnia. It's going to go inside of a cabinet. So you open the cabinet and it's like wintry trees. And I put these rainbow motion sensor lights in it. It looks like the Northern Lights, kind of. And that's a project that's related to the fruit project, that library I mentioned earlier. It's a library for books by kids. And so we made a lot of funky art installations in there. Like I made a secret room behind a clock. So this is kind of phase two. The most fun ever to just see kids interact with the stuff that you make. I have some of those hug chairs there too. And then I have a show coming up this summer at the Great Highway Gallery, and I'm just doing like a big window installation after 20 years of doing these round shape paintings on tabletops. I just use like unfinished tabletops. I'm turning them into tables, which I've done before, and I have mixed feelings about to like turn your paintings into a utility, but I'm just gonna go nuts with it for this window display because it's kind of a box. So I made some paintings that look like tables. I made a painting that spins on a record player. I once saw an installation in Maine and I never forgot it. So I'm trying to do something inspired by that. That's like a maximalist small space with all these like patterns that I make. But it's not till August, and I may very well just stuff a bunch of fruit in that window instead. And she got plenty. Yeah. I need a very large truck, but we'll see. I also don't think they're all going to fit out my front door. So many will have to be transported out the dining room window.
I'll let you go. Thank you for talking with me.
Thank you. This was so fun. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks to Kristin for taking time out of her busy schedule to talk to us. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. See you next week. And in the meantime, craft on.